Good morning, Karen Hawkins. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful, Mel. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I am honored to have you here on Women in Tech and Their Money Stories, a series that I created about a year ago. And there was no question in my mind that you had to be featured, as you have been in my life for quite a while. And I've been trying to rack my brain this morning as to how long have we known each other? And did we meet through the ladies' room?
No, so I am pretty sure I met you through Tiffany English at WIBC.
Oh,
it may
okay.
even have been the first one I went to, and it was like in the West Loop in probably 2016 or 2017.
You don't think it was sooner than that?
Like more recently than that?
No, later than that.
I feel like, I met Tiffany like probably in 2016.
Okay, I'll go with that then. For those of you who are listening to our interview today, Karen and I have known each other since 2016 or 2017. And we met through an awesome organization called Women in Business Connect. For a while there, Karen was instrumental in creating the first women's only co-working space in River North called the Ladies' Room. And I am still thrilled to be the proud mama of the couch that came from the Ladies' Room when it closed. But anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Karen?
Sure, absolutely. So I, like so many of us, have a million jobs. So right now I'm co-publisher and editor-in-chief of the Chicago Reader, which is an alternative paper in Chicago. We recently celebrated our 50th anniversary. I'm also founder of Rebellious Magazine for Women, which is a digital feminist site that I founded in 2012. And through Rebellious, I also co-host 2 podcasts. Of course, I'm Not Okay with my friend Katie Morrell about mental health and creativity, and Feminist Erotica with my friend Princess McDowell about feminist erotica. So I don't know why I decided to spend the pandemic just starting projects, but that's what I did. So both of the podcasts started during the pandemic, and Rebellious, of course, has been around for a long time.
I wasn't familiar with your podcast, so that's pretty exciting. And you know what better time to do something, right? I mean, what else were we doing at that time other than drinking heavily?
And why not record yourself drinking heavily?
No, obviously. Absolutely. I think, this series was kind of born out of that whole scenario as well. It was, I took some marketing classes and they were like, okay, what are you doing to really hone in on your niche? And I think it's fantastic that you found the same way to express yourself and to share your knowledge and your experience with other people.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Very fun. Well, so you've been around what do you want to call that? Is it the media? Mm-hmm. Is that what the industry is considered? For what, probably 20 plus years at this point?
20 plus years. I was the nerd. I've known like most of my life that I wanted to be a journalist. My grandfather wrote essays as well as working at the post office. I have a cousin who's a copy editor who also worked in journalism. So I knew really young that I wanted to be in media. And so I worked at my I worked at my high school newspaper. I worked at the high school radio station, of course, worked at my college newspaper. I went to the University of Illinois. So I worked at the DI, the Daily Illini, for all 4 years, and got an internship like my junior year, and got a job right out of college. So yeah, I've had like full-time media jobs. My first one was in 1997, but that doesn't include, of course, high school and college.
Yeah. That's pretty cool that you were able to find your passion and then get away and then find a way to get paid for it.
Yes, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about how Rebellious became to be.
Well, I love this story. So my origin story is that I was a reporter with a news organization whose name I do not say, but whose initials are AP. And I was like really frustrated with a series of things. I was really frustrated both about what I was able to cover and the impact I felt like I was able to have as a reporter. And I was frustrated with my life. Like, I worked nights and weekends and holidays and got called in on the last minute. And I remember one day standing up to leave my shift and something happened and I sat back down for another 8 hours, right? So I really wanted a change, but I wanted to stay in journalism. Mm-hmm. And kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me was like getting a new boss who we did not vibe. And I remember asking for 4 Saturdays off in a row. I was working every Saturday. I asked for these 4 off in a row. And he told me that I was being rebellious. and that I was testing him by asking for this time off. And as I say, like, I'm really fortunate. We are both really fortunate. It was on the phone. This phone conversation was on the phone because I don't really know what I would have said to him in person. But needless to say, I left the AP less than a year later, went into consulting. So left journalism as my full-time gig, but then started Rebellious that year and really saw it as this opportunity to tell women's stories, at that time women, but of course I have a very expansive definition of women and non-binary folks, but to tell women's stories in their own voices in their own way, which is something I didn't feel like I could do at the AP because of all the layers of editing and all the things. So that is the Rebellious origin story, March of 2012.
And how many issues have you put out to date?
Oh my gosh, well, we're digital. So, I mean, we published from March 8th of 2012, which is International Women's Day, for a year and a half, for a solid year and a half through August of 2013. And then I got a new job, a new full-time job, and really felt like I couldn't keep Rebellious going and I just needed a rest. And so I took this disco nap, right? So from August of 2013 to March of 2016, we didn't publish. The site was live, but we weren't publishing new content. And then we relaunched in March of 2016. So we have more than 1,100 pieces of content. Wow. Not everything came over from the old site, but yeah, I mean, we try to publish 2 to 3 times a week.
And how do you find your inspiration for the content that goes into your digital print?
So we're just digital. We're not in print. The reader is print, of course, but Rebellious is just digital. And I get my inspiration from my writers. I am so grateful for them. I have a number of folks who have written for me since I relaunched in 2016, and they're my editors. So I have Lori Finelli, who's music and entertainment. Y'all are going to kill me when I'm forgetting this wrong. Janet Arvia, who is arts and culture. Frances McDowell, special projects. Jarrett Brown writes about sexuality. Sam Struzis writes about sexuality, sexual health, and reproductive justice. And my sister serves as my social media director. And they're really my inspiration. And they pitch stories to me like they are the subject matter experts in what they cover and what they're passionate about. And I just feel really grateful that I have people who are so committed to the community and to what they cover who want to stay with Rebellious.
Mm-hmm. And I love the title too. It's just so fitting, especially when you think of the story of how it came to be and the fact that you're still kicking ass and taking names today, almost 10 years later. Congratulations, you are celebrating the 10-year anniversary.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Quite an accomplishment, especially in today's day when newspapers are not making it much longer.
No. I mean, I think it's something like, I forget the number of tens of thousands, if not 100,000 local journalism jobs lost over the last decade, and countless lost even just over the last 2 years. And fortunately, there's a resurgence. Fortunately, I think we are all watching what happens when we don't have access to good, reliable information. Mm-hmm. So I think journalism funders in terms of foundations are supporting local journalism now. I think some of the organizations that are really responsible for the financial struggles we've all faced, so I'm talking about the Googles of the world and Facebook/Meta, they understand that we need local journalism. So they have been funding local journalism, but no, it's been really, it's been a challenge, obviously, for the entire industry, but especially somebody like me, I identify as a mouthy Black lesbian feminist over now 45. And yeah, it's been hard. It's always going to be hard, whatever I'm doing, but yeah, being in journalism, especially.
And as somebody who doesn't think the same way, I would think that there would be more openness and willingness for people to accept creative journalism. And you're saying that's not necessarily the case. They still want something that's very kind of plain vanilla and sticking to the facts and more mainstream, I guess is what I'm thinking.
I think it depends. I think there are always going to be people who support mainstream media as they should, but I do think there is more room for niche publications like mine and community media like mine and independent media like mine. I think we've also seen what happens when corporations or billionaires own media, and we need no tea, no shade. I think we've all seen what happens when that is the case, and So I think more and more the reading public understands the importance of independent journalism that has a point of view. We all have a point of view. The mainstream media outlets get to pretend like they don't, but of course they do. So there's more room for more of us, and I'm always excited when I see more outlets starting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you've already mentioned quite a number of career successes. Anything else that stands out that you want to share with us?
Whew. I mean, definitely, absolutely the 10-year anniversary of Rebellious and the folks that I've gotten to work with. And I would say I am also on the board of NLGJA, which is the Association of LGBTQ Journalists. And I, for 15 years, have served as a mentor for the student project. And really one of my career successes has been watching so many of the students that I worked with in that program go on to absolutely amazing careers in journalism, and to just, like you said, kick ass and take names and stay true to themselves. I think a lot of us get taught, even, I'm always shocked, I call them kids, but even the kids coming out of school today are told to not put NLGJ on their resumes so that they don't out themselves. And I absolutely got told that. And I don't know if I can swear on this, but like, why would I want to work for someone who won't hire me because I'm gay? No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm interviewing them too. So it's just been really gratifying that people get to bring their whole selves to more workplaces now. And I have really loved that experience.
Well, and it's something that I also see in the financial services industry, right? So I think as time goes on and we retire some of the, I call them the good old white boys.
Yep.
And we get more of our Gen X generation into positions of power, we will start to see that this will become the norm, as it should be. So, okay, so again, 20 plus years. Oh, you know, I wanted to ask you, what do you see for Rebellious going forward for the next 10 years?
Thank you for asking. So we have been really, really grateful to have generous, very, very generous support from a lot of different folks, including our advertisers. So really, I want to expand the coverage that we're doing. And so we got a grant last year in 2021 to cover sexual health and reproductive justice. Thank you, Field Foundation of Illinois. So I want to absolutely continue and grow that coverage. Reproductive justice, as you can imagine, is a huge, it's vital, such a vital part of what we cover. So I want to expand that. My dream is to be able to hire a feminist news reporter to better cover feminist communities in Chicago. And I really, really want a women's sports reporter. We'll see if that happens this year. Sometime over the next 10 years, you know, we just don't, we as a city, we as a country, as a culture, don't cover women's sports the way that they deserve to be covered. I don't know if you saw the news today that professional soccer just agreed to pay the women's soccer players equitably as the men's soccer players. Yeah. And when they win the World Cup and all that, like that just happened today. It's May of 2022. And that's just happening right now.
And that's something that I wouldn't have not known unless you brought it up, because to your point, it's not even really celebrated or acknowledged, right? Or if it is, it's like the last piece of the news before all the other stuff that, yeah. Well, like I said, but we're moving in the right direction, Karen. It's just going to take some time, but I think that you are positioned to really take this opportunity that's not available right now and be that #1 publication for your community and for women in general, right? I mean, so kudos to you. I would love to be a part of your journey as you go forward. And if I can support you in any way with Rebellious, I can't write much about sports, but if you ever need some money tips, I might be able to provide some advice there.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm very excited about the possibility of this. So thank you, Mel.
All right, let's switch gears here. So, you know, you've been around the block for a while, and I mean that with all due respect.
Sure.
But you said it yourself, you know, a woman over your 40s, and we're both in what we're going to call our midlife. I wouldn't say crisis, because I don't feel like I'm freaking out about anything, but I do want to know what are some lessons you've learned along the way. I mean, you've been, you know, you've worked with some of the best news journalism papers out there, right? I mean, and then you created your own because you felt there was a missing link, and you know, now you're with Chicago Reader and whoever, you know, who knows where you'll be in the near future. But what are some things that you'd share with the audience that, you know, might be a piece of advice that you want to or nugget, if you will?
Yes. All right. A couple things. Okay. So one, if your dream job turns out to be a nightmare, just get out. Just get out. I don't care if your mama wants you to stay. I don't care if your whole ego and your whole sense of who you are is tied up in this job. You are killing yourself, and it is just not worth it. And the longer you stay in this place that isn't right for you, the longer you're delaying yourself from being in the right place. So that is the first thing. The second thing I would say is leadership and entrepreneurship is really lonely, and no one warns you about that.
It's true.
And no one warns you about it. Even if you have a 9-to-5, even if you're just in leadership at a 9-to-5, when something goes wrong, you don't have anybody to gossip about it with. Nobody wants to see you crying in the bathroom, right? Like, you got to hold it together. You have to signal for everybody to stay calm and how to handle things. And it's really lonely. And so I would just say, like, it's trite, but it's true. Like, find your people and make sure you have a support system. I love when my friends talk about, you know, their kids who are having a hard time, and the team they've built for their kids, the therapists they have for their kids, and the friends and the family. Like, get your team together. And even if you've already started and you're already feeling alone, like, set aside the time, make time in your life to build a support team of people around you.
That seems to be a recurring theme that has come up on this series a number of times. Jessica Williams brought that up.
Yeah.
It's come up quite a number of times. And, you know, you and I have had the pleasure of doing some co-working in the past. And I think it is a great piece of advice that if you are going to try the entrepreneurship path, you definitely want to build your network, have your tribe near you, because it is, like you said, it's a lonely, lonely game.
Yeah.
And I would also reiterate, it's not for everybody.
Ooh, it's really not.
You know?
Yeah.
So great pieces of advice. I really think that you hit the nail on the head there. So we've actually had the pleasure of working together from a personal financial standpoint. For those of you who are not familiar, I actually teach a women's boot camp, financial boot camp, and Karen was one of my she's an OG attendee. Back in, I don't even know when that was, 2000 something, but I am currently, I just completed the last class last night. So that's the 4th cohort, which is something I'm pretty proud about. But along your way, what are some money tips that you've picked up that you want to share with the group that you think have really served you well in your personal finances?
Ooh, Mel, my personal finances. All right. I would say save up at least twice as much as you think you're going to need for anything. And if you're going to quit your 9-to-5, that's if you're going to buy property, that's if you're going to buy a car, if you're going to make a big purchase, just save as much as you possibly can. Just sock it away.
Yeah.
I learned from you in that class. I loved that class, by the way, and I am so grateful I got to be in that first one because we had such a great class, and I love those girls, and I loved that class. And one of the things that you said that always has stuck with me is pay yourself first. Mm-hmm. And I really, as a result of taking that class every day, right now I have it set to $8. Every day from my checking account, I move $8 into my savings account. I don't think about it. It just disappears. It's just money. And I've changed the amounts over time, but it's just felt awesome to look at my savings account and be like, ah, look at that, there's money in there.
Well,
right?
Like you said, $8 is really not a lot of money in the scheme of things, but over the course of time, it adds up.
It does add up. And I forget how I settled on 8, but yeah, it's it's a lucky number, 8. That's how I decided on 8. That's definitely a money tip. And I think, you know what, the other money tip I would say is if you stumble, and I've had some very significant, I'll just put it this way, the most significant financial stumbles that you can have in life, I have had them in the last 4 years. And I had a tremendous amount of shame around them. And now I wear them as a badge of honor. Like, I got through that. It has not defined my life. It was not the end of my life. I feel like we get socialized like, oh, if you do this thing, oh no, your credit, oh no, this, oh no, that. Like, your credit score is not your life. It isn't who you are. It doesn't say anything about what you've been through and what you've accomplished. And of course we've been socialized. Don't get me started on late stage capitalism, but of course we've been socialized that number says so much about who you are as a person and what you've done with your life. And
it's not.
No, and
it's not.
Just push past it. Like, just be proud of where you've gotten to, and that it doesn't have to define you, and that life is sometimes like an arrow. It pulls you back so it can propel you forward. And I firmly believe that.
You know, I think one of the reasons I do what I do and I'm so passionate about educating and empowering women is because I've made a lot of these mistakes myself personally, right? And I think you just really made a good point, which is you're going to learn from mistakes. You're going to learn how to be better the next time around because you fell. And I think that's just in life, right?
Yes.
Whether it's your money or not. And so, you know, I'm proud of you for sharing that too, because we, you know, when I work with a client, I always say, we're not going to look at what happened in the past. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but then we're going to put it in a box, throw it away, and we're going to move forward with a fresh beginning, right? And so I love that the pay yourself first stuck, because that, I think, is the financial foundation to any good beginning of having strong money habits. So thank you for that. I think those are really good money tips. So as we wrap up here, tell me, how can we find you? And is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we call it a day?
Yes. All right. So you can find Rebellious Magazine at rebelliousmagazine.com. We are on all of the things: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube. We have the 2 podcasts. I should also give a shout out to the Chicago Reader, my main employer, paying the bills, chicagoreader.com. We have a fundraising drive going right now. We're calling it our Independence Day campaign. So the Reader, as of yesterday, officially became a nonprofit. And like I said, we have this campaign running through Memorial Day. Your gifts are tax deductible. It supports community journalism. Rebellious also has a nonprofit arm. We're not a 501c3, but we also have a nonprofit arm called the Feminist Media Foundation. So you can give to us. You can support Rebellious on Patreon. You can support us on PayPal. You can Venmo me money. Thank you for your support. Really appreciate all of you. Exactly, all the things. Get in touch if you want to send us something. But yes, all of your support helps us a lot. And even, I will say, even if you feel like, oh, I can't really give that much, it means a ton, especially to me at Rebellious. Even the smallest gift, even the smallest amount of fundraising we've done has been transformative for us. Absolutely transformative. And we are very lean. We work really close to the ground. So even what you consider to be a tiny gift really allows us to keep telling the stories we're telling of this community.
I think that's fantastic. And to your point, I mean, even something as simple as $8 from a bunch of people could add up and be the little gift that can keep the organization running. So
absolutely.
Well, Karen, thank you again for taking the time. I know you're extremely busy running a very important newspaper here in Chicago, as well as running Rebellious Magazine. Congratulations again on your 10-year anniversary. And I hope we see a lot of people visiting the website and hopefully making some donations out of their goodwill. So have a great day.
Thank you.